Hello and welcome. We are live. We're live on YouTube. We're live on LinkedIn. We are live on Facebook. I'm here with Pascal. How are you, Pascal?
I'm very well. Can I just say, I know that I shouldn't, but I just love this music and I'm really getting into this audio branding for the 90-day website mastery program.
Yeah, I get a buzz every time I hear it. Really, it's pretty cool. We are on our fifth webinar, and
Mhm.
this is part of the website webinar series, part of our 90-day program, which we spent lots of time putting together. It's full of lots of resources. It answers that question: are you proud of your website? And when and it's that moment that someone says, "Can I have your website address, please?"
Mm.
And all of a sudden you think, oh God, I don't want to share that with you. I'm not proud of it. But we are here to make you proud of your website. We've got a 90-day program fully packed of mastermind classes, one-to-one time with me and Pascal, fully online, very immersive, Facebook group, support on WhatsApp, tons of resources. What have I missed, Pascal?
Not a great deal, but just because I had a question actually only 2 weeks ago, it's a live experience. There's nothing pre-recorded. Literally for the 90-day, you have access to Johnny and I as your kind of non-exec marketing directors.
And you're struggling with your voice there, aren't you? You've done a lot of talking. I'll
We
try not to, I'll try not to get you to talk too much, Pascal. I'll try and be kind to you today, and not throw you in. So we've had a number of different sessions. Just a quick recap: we covered your 2023 website health check in our first session. Then we covered building trust on your website. We then looked at attracting the right website visitors, converting visitors into inquiries, and today we're looking at being proud of your website. This sums up the entire mastery program. This is what it's all about. It's about how to be proud of your website. And we're going to look at a couple of things today. So it's going to be techniques to craft weekly and monthly content plans. So there's sort of a bit of a resource and a template there. But one of the key things is recapping on the key learning and actions from the previous sessions. These are tasters to give you sort of a taste of all the things that we'll be covering. But knowing us, it's full of tips and tricks and techniques. And in fact, we've also got some apps that we're going to share today as well. Some of our top apps that really make some of these things a lot easier. So I'm going to hand over to Pascal to take us a bit further through some of these things.
Thank you very much. So yes, what we're trying to do here is change the mindset, change the approach in terms of being in charge and in control of your website. And what we've explained for the last few weeks now, Johnny, this idea of the evolution of our role. We are moving away from completing tasks on a to-do list and being the architect of an online experience. So that's a new reality, which is born out of particularly the evolution of new technologies, but of course the impact of the global pandemic in terms of the adoption. We are talking as a running kind of thread through and a kind of recurring theme about building trust. Yes, we want the convenience of the website, both for us and our future customers, but not at the expense of a meaningful human connection. And therefore, when we talk about being in charge of a website, yes, we talk about the technology side, but also talk about building relationships. For me, therefore, it has informed our kind of claim for you and I that this is about a new purpose. And the purpose of websites in today's economy is to record and share your many conversations, your many considerations, and connections. And we've explored that quite extensively over the last few sessions. And therefore, what it means for a visitor is that they are essentially welcome and looked after with a brand new experience of showcasing your qualities as people that are valued by your customers. We talk about common sense, we talk about communication skills, but of course, importantly, we talk about customer service. And what we've done is we've looked at customer service from their perspective, their journey of the before purchase phase, the during kind of deliberation phase, and the after sales care. And we've explored that in this kind of refined and reorganized customer journey and funnel of the visibility journey, which we explored extensively actually 2 sessions ago, credibility and interactivity. And in fact, if I may, as part of the 90-day program, we go really deep diving into each stages and give you all the tactics and more to really craft that experience. We've also agreed that one important talent to stimulate and nurture is your imagination. The impact of the website and the way it's going to feel to be your well looked after visitor will be really the result of how you've engaged imagination, avoiding just a good enough phase, Johnny, but also avoiding being in a situation where you plagiarized what is already out there. It begins by changing the language, and we spoke extensively about moving away from generic language like websites and more to be more specific, to create intrigue, and for you, the person in charge, for creating a sense of anticipation, looking forward to being in charge of this website. And we've explored, therefore, the language. You've got to be a bit more explicit. I know the temptation to keep everything kind of shorthand style, to speed things up, but actually, the result to which you compromise your understanding and your own sense of purpose. So we don't say that we're in charge of a website, Johnny. We're not necessarily a webmaster or whichever. We are the editors of several content series about a number of subject matters. And what we do is we take everyday conversations and transform the ordinary into someone else's extraordinary. So, with the everyday conversation as a source of inspiration and to stimulate your imagination, you can come up with 4 content series, which I know you've explored in details last week as well. Products and services, of course, the kind of testimonials and case studies, your track record. We're looking at the Meet the Team and biographies, and of course, the contact us and the calls to action pages. Those are the 4 categories that you explored, but they are inspired in terms of the words, the images, the videos, and so on by your everyday conversation. Of course, what we do sometime is give advice. We help others without necessarily wanting to go for the transaction. We call this social content. And you have 4 categories again in terms of your work: industry news, giving people updates, and that kind of expert advice, what we call sometime fireside chat. We also give away tools and techniques and templates. And we also let people know what we've been up to, knowing that we are passionate, that we are an active participant in our chosen marketplace is very important to our customers. So I wanted to kind of recapture that, if you don't mind, Johnny, with regard to the mindset, because then that gives me a perfect segue for your spotlight, which is this idea of crafting weekly and monthly content plans.
Yeah, thanks, Pascal. And that's really helped just put a lot together. What this is about is taking all of these different types of content and having a bit of a template, a bit of a method to make things happen and to give you a plan going forward. So I'm going to share that with everyone. And one of the things that this also does that I've found over time is that it forces a bit of creativity. I know Pascal there was very much talking about imagination, and it's so important that we tap into that and tap into our creative mind, because we will learn more, and by learning more we demonstrate trust, we demonstrate knowledge. People want to engage with us because they can see that we can help them on their journey, and really, whether it's products or services, whether we build that knowledge into better products or better services, it's really important to bring that creativity out. And one of the things that I find to really help towards putting a content plan together is to feed yourself full of content, to feed yourself full of all the different types of content that's out there. So whether that be industry related news, whether it be looking at competitors, whether it be signing up to different podcasts, different blogs, reading, listening, keeping notes of things. So maybe, whilst you're walking or, doing something in the kitchen and you suddenly think of something, maybe just voice record it into your phone, and remember these things. So it's about constantly feeding your mind full of different ideas so that you can go back to that list at any point and think, actually, I've already come up with the ideas. When is it time to use them? So an editorial calendar, it gives you a couple of advantages. So we're talking about planning, the ability to plan, but also the ability to have accountability for the content plan, to sort of say, well, look, you've agreed that in week 2 of month 3, whatever, this is what you're going to be doing. Now, of course, things can change. Topical content comes up. Things do change. But without a plan, well, there's probably lots of phrases, but the key thing is, having a plan gives you the planning and the accountability. So there's a really simple, easy way. This is my way, and there's lots of different ways, but I find this is a really simple way of coming up with a content plan. And the first step is simply coming up with a list of things and dates. So those things could be things like product launches, they could be events or trade shows. These might not be events or trade shows that you're necessarily attending. They might not be events or trade shows that you're exhibiting at. But what they are is events or trade shows that are relevant. They're relevant to whether they be to your customer or relevant to your industry, your service, your product. So it's a way to talk about these things and be seen to be in the know, but also be learning about things as you go as well. So other things that you could be aware of and make notes of and dates would be things like marketing campaigns, promotions, holidays, so Christmas, Easter, Father's Day, Mother's Day, things like sporting events. When's the next World Cup? When's the next Olympics? When's the next big boat race? Whatever it might be, whatever your passion is, bring that into your content plan. So what sporting events are coming up? And perhaps it's sporting events that might be some of your clients are passionate about, and that would be a way to engage them and be relevant as well. What about key milestones? How long have you been going in business? Whether it's 1 year, 3 years, 7 years, 10 years, let's put it in the diary. When is your birthday? Really important to put that in the diary. I'm talking about your business's birthday, of course, but key milestones, let's get them in the diary. If you're struggling, you can always have a look at things, this date in history, what happened in March in history, what happened on, whatever date it might be. And you can have a look at things that have happened in history. You can relate TV programs. I know, for example, that we do a lot of work with entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs typically like watching things like The Apprentice. So when's the next season of The Apprentice? Let's put it in our content plan. Let's put it in our diary. And I know Pascal is a huge film buff. I imagine that films will be all over his content plan when the next whatever particular film's coming out, etc., etc. Whether it be national days and national weeks. I've got a tool that I'll mention in a moment for finding those national days and weeks, and charity campaigns. Maybe this is a way to align with a particular charity, to align your values, to get across your values to your potential clients and clients. But what's the dates in the charities diary? And let's get them into your content plan. So, and lastly, national competitions, for example, Women's International Day. Um, uh, the book one has completely gone out of our mind. But what national competitions are there, and could you get them into your diary? So we have the list of things and dates. We have a spreadsheet. January in the left, all the way to the right, going to December. We have the list of things going down in the first column, all the different types of things that we were talking about. And I've got a template which I can share with you on the screen. If you're watching, there is a link. We'll put it in the notes afterwards, but you can grab this template. And all it is a list of things on the left-hand side. And as I said, January to December on the right-hand side. And it's about populating these things. In my experience, even if you just spent an hour doing this, I reckon you could find 4 or 5 things each month for the next 12 months within an hour. And if you're looking at doing a piece of content, let's say once a week, well, you've cracked what that content's going to be related to for the next 12 months in 1 hour. I genuinely believe you can do that. I've done it many times with different clients, and it's about just having a bit of focus and just thinking, let's just get these things onto a piece of paper. Once you've done that, it's about relating the different things to your products and services. So how can you relate Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day to your particular products and service, and thinking, okay, well, we've got Valentine's Day coming up. It's in a few weeks' time. How can we bring red and love and use your imagination, find a product or service that fits well with it, and how can we come up with potentially a title, a format? Is this going to be a podcast? Is it a video? Is it a guide, a blog? What is it? And again, there's a template that I've come up with here. And for those that can see this, there'll be a link on the screen. I can share the link afterwards again. But what we're talking about here is coming up with something that really brings everything together. It brings your strategy together. It brings your audiences together. It brings the industries, the sectors, the call to actions, the keywords, the search engine optimization. So basically, we're saying that, in week 3 of month 4, whatever it might be, this is the particular topic. This is the particular product or service that we're going to relate it to. These are some, external links. Maybe you've thought of something that you might have seen in the Times or the Guardian or the BBC. Maybe you make a note of that right now in the calendar. It's going to be focused. This particular piece of content is going to be focused on a particular sector, a particular industry. It's going to be focused on a particular audience. So it's going to be focused on HR managers in the finance industry. It's going to have a title. It's going to have a call to action. What are we going to get people to do? We're going to suggest they watch a video afterwards that will give them more in depth. We're going to suggest that they download something. We're going to suggest that they sign up to something. Let's be strategic. Let's decide what they're going to do and put it into the plan right now. And from an SEO point of view, what are the phrases and the questions and the keywords that people are typing into Google that are relevant to this topic and this product and service? And let's make sure we capture that now so that when we come to produce this piece of content, we think about those keywords and use them. And again, in my experience, if you were to spend an hour on this, you could easily come up with the next 6 to 12 weeks of content topics with all the different things I've talked about. So naming the industry, the sector, the call to action, the particular product or service, and the specific audience that you're aiming at. So if you take the first hour and the second hour, we're talking sort of, a couple of hours. Let's stretch it half a day, and you could have 12 months worth of topics and 3 months worth of this is the actual content, and there's the plan, and there's the accountability. So that's the template. There's a bit of a resource for you. That's a format that I find. And what I'd also like to do is share just a couple of top apps or tech that might help you with some of the things that I've just talked about. So before I pass back to the fantastic Pascal, just to share a couple of little things that I've seen. So for example, Pexels has a great marketing calendar, where they've grabbed all the best international days, international weeks, and put them into a calendar for you. So if you Google Pexels days of the week calendar, you'll be able to find that. What I also like is coming up with really good titles. So tweakyourbiz.com/title generator. And what this is a way to take the topic that you've got, take perhaps the keywords or the audience, and come up with that killer title for a blog, for a podcast, for a video, whatever it might be, to help you come up with that killer title. And what I love about it is it segments the titles into different types of categories. So whether it be lists, whether it be the best of, whether it be how to, whether it be questions, whether it be relating it to a celebrity, or whether it be what they call secrets. So cracking the film marketing code, cracking the film marketing secret. It's sort of that thing that we call it clickbait in some way. It's the thing that makes you want to click and read, or makes you want to click and listen, and that's what it's great at coming up with in terms of titles. And then one of the last ones that I want to share with you is daysoftheyear.com. Daysoftheyear.com, simple as that. It's fully packed. In fact, I used it with a client this morning. They sell dog clothing. We did a quick search for dog days of the year, and there's loads of them. So find your niche, think about your audience, and think about some of the days of the year that you can incorporate. And the last one would be the United Nations have an international days and weeks. It's worth looking at their calendar to see if any of those could be relevant and include them in your content plan. At this point, I'm going to pass back to Pascal, who's going to recap on all the learning points and actions that we've had in the last few weeks, but also to share some of his top tech and apps.
Thank you very much. And I know you can't see them and hear them, but I'm sure there would be the applause from our live audience and our replay audience, because you have crammed so much good stuff in the short space of time. You and I are normally delivering one-day workshops and conferences. This is an interesting challenge, isn't it, to summarize everything in the space of 10 minutes or so.
It really is. Yeah, absolutely. But we both enjoy it.
We do, and people could see me smiling as you were going through your kind of spotlight, because I could also just recollect how enjoyable what you described is to do. And I know that for many of our audiences, it would be something that they perhaps used to do or they've not done yet. There's something truly enjoyable. You can celebrate this as a team as well and get more people involved. Now, I must confess, when I was working on this spotlight, I believed that I would given like an easy job compared to you. But this has been so hard because it was almost like choosing if every child, I mean, we'll have one, but we never tell really. And kind of going through the sessions and picking just the salient learning point and action has been kind of interesting. But we began in session 1 with this idea of your 2023 website health check, and we split between platforms and people. Johnny, you
And I'm
reminded
just
us.
and I'm just going to ask you to share your slides because I know that you're showing some at the moment, but I'm not got them on my
All right, so
screen.
we'll start again.
Well, no, you don't need to start again. You're at session 1.
Yeah, so I'm going
I
to
think
share the slides again.
they've just come up now. Thank you. There we
Okay,
go. You're back
thank
on.
you. So, website health check that you recommended looking at 3 elements: usability, technical aspects, and keywords and content, and just taking stock of your current position, creating a baseline so you can essentially see how you're making progress and where you need to be making progress. So, we looked at that in session 1. We also looked at the people element. Remember, we're talking about platforms and people connections, but are also driven by what it feels like to be one of your future customers. So we looked at first impressions, very, very important, trust elements, and also calls to actions. And we had lots of tips to give at this stage there. And that's really important, isn't it, Johnny, to start with something that creates a baseline so you can keep track of progress throughout the year, because otherwise you can't compare and contrast with previous position. In session 2, we looked at trust, and you recommended six key elements to build that trust on the website. In summary, reviews from existing customers and third party, looking at logos, not just yours, but also any of the organization that maybe you're a member of, anyone that can essentially validate your claims. Case studies, very, very important. I need to know that you've done this for people like me. I need to be able to engage with relatable stories. You need to find ways through the words, your choice of photography, videos, and so on, to share your personality. We talked about passion a lot. We talked about this idea of being so interested in your marketplace, in the life of your customers, that comes across in the way you choose to do your research, as you heard a moment ago, but also what you choose to share on the website. We spoke about featuring your associates, kind of showing the network, very, very important. And of course, always relating to stories in your industry. You had a moment ago about this importance to comment and react as well. We then moved on to trust and importantly, how to look after visitors. And I shared with you the 4 types of website visitors, a technique to avoid essentially under communication. And we have fun dealing with Johnny, looking at the 4 types: the investigator, the relationship builder, the negotiator, the dreamer. And we looked at ways in which you can make sure that you answer all the questions right for them and you share the information in a manner that is essentially attractive and appealing to them. And we looked at this idea of the potential for your website to have one blind spot, maybe one of the kind of visitor type is not being sufficiently looked after, hence this term under communication. In session 3, we looked at attracting visitors to the website, looking at visibility. You shared very practical SEO techniques, which I'm going to summarize here on screen. This idea of it's logical and it's guided by common sense and business sense. And that's a point that you made very, very strongly. It is not perhaps what people think it is, which is something hard to understand or hard to master necessarily. It takes time and effort for you to explore the on-site and off-site technique, but they are well documented, and you have people like Johnny and myself to guide you through. The importance of third-party reviews. And I think I would like to suggest for people that all the search engines you can think of, the Google, the Yahoo, and Bing and more, they're really, really good at correlating and checking information across websites about yourselves. So third-party reviews on your site and beyond are very, very important. Talking about beyond, you need to create links and relationship with other websites, which gave me the segue there to talk about creating referrals via sites and experts guest. And here, the summary point is about this idea of passion, this idea of capturing it through 3 tactics that leads to something very, very important in the world of reputation management, you've got to be seen to be helpful by being curious about your industry. And a moment ago, Johnny gave you lots of examples about creating those weekly and monthly content calendars. But you've got to know about what is happening in your industry in terms of membership organizations, conferences, about the print and online media that becomes the go-to news platform for your customers, and importantly, the trade shows and events. And you've got to know who they are so you can make an approach around guest marketing and referrals. Session 4 last week was all to do with using this passion, using this kind of relaunching, your blog and social media activities because you have rekindled the interest in doing so. And you spoke a lot about this idea of we're going to simplify things for you, Johnny, by breaking down the key elements, so more challenging the language and status quo. I'm going to build up again in terms of what you've got. So you spoke about 2 categories of content against which you have 4 types of content, and that allows you to begin the work towards a monthly schedule. And you kind of shared on screen, which I have now again today, of how you do that. You have promotional content, you have social content, each with their 4 kind of subcategories, and you can start to extrapolate essentially what the next 3 months looks like. And you can add now with today's learning from Johnny's spotlight. For my part, I was looking at also how you really encouraged us to go back to what we have already. That's important, isn't it? Because all too often people move on very quickly to the next thing, or they want to start something new. But you talked to us about your best performing blog post, maybe your most visited landing pages, maybe you talk about your social media activities, or what can you do to repurpose up, to add elements, to add media content, to continue to make these pages work harder for you. And I thought that was a really insightful element of your spotlight. I moved on then to talk about videos to essentially get more from your website. And we spoke about, again, simplifying first to then build up. And I looked at 3 categories of content effort: content curation, content collaboration, and content creation. And within that, I was looking at 3 types of video that will make a difference. We also had a special message, I remember now, from my filmmaking hero, Steven Spielberg. But very quickly, in terms of 3 videos to be on your website, we recommended the welcome video for the homepage. But be very careful and do go back to the spotlight from the previous session. It is often incomplete. This is one where we have also on occasion some under communication. The welcome video has a particular role and the structure. It is very, very important to respect it. The second that you should consider having is the personal Q&A video. And in fact, we had an example from one of our SEO hero, Matt Cutts, to look at last session. It's perfect for your blogging activities and your social media activities. It's perfect as well to kind of add to a product page or a service page. Be very careful. All too often, people overcomplicate the production and the recording. You've got to keep it simple. And third and final video was the farewell video. So if you had the welcome video on the homepage, Johnny, we have it on maybe the contact us page or the landing page. And this is all about really reinforcing this idea that you are here, you are in business for meaningful conversations and connections with your kind of future customers. And it helps because of the content and what you share. It helps turn any final downs into trust. And this is what we've been looking at together. So you allow me very, very quickly, I'm going to do my top taken apps, and I'm going to stick with the theme of video if you don't mind. And very, very quickly. So video does better, particularly things where there is a multiplicity in terms of the message with a list of what you want to do. So 2 companies I can recommend that will help you make good shot list and storyboarding. The first one is Boards on boards.com. And they have this great template, very generous of them, for your shot list. And then the next one for storyboarding is Milanote. So you've done the planning. On occasion, you may not have all the video footage you wish you had, so you can go back to Pexels. They have an amazing library of copyright-free video clips that you can use to add to what you've done already yourselves and with your kind of partners. And then you want to edit. Starting with mobile phones, I recommend that you look into Vlogit by Filmora. It's a very, very good kind of app. InShot is also a very, very good app. And if you're already quite adept at video editing, you may want to be looking into Filmic Pro. It's really the one that people settle with a few years down the line. Editing on the laptop, we can look at WeVideo. It's a good platform, but I do know that my customers are very happy with Filmora from Wondershare. A very easy to use, yet very powerful platform for video editing on your laptop. Some of us in the business of knowledge kind of exchange do like to record maybe our screen as well as our webcam. So Screencastify is one of many for you to consider. It's really good. And before you go ahead and maybe spend more money that you need to on webcams and camera, maybe what you've got already can be made to work harder for you. So Manycam is a great little kind of solution to get more from your existing kit before you go and spend some money. And there we have it, a quick roundup of the learning points and actions together with some top tech and apps. The idea of building trust for not just you, but also for your visitors, making this website work harder for you so that you are really understanding that things have moved on. This is about customer service, not a tech program or a kind of online solution. This is your extension of your belief and ethos when it comes to the before, the during, and the after experience for your customers. And that's what I want to discuss with you, Johnny. How do we continue to being proud of our websites?
Well, that is the big question, isn't it? And it's the one where most of us are not proud of our website, but we have all the answers on how to become proud of your website and what a journey we've taken you through. I mean, I was just reflecting on Pascal there, the amount of content we've shared just in this webinar series, and that's just a taste of what would be in the 90-day program. And we want to help you become proud of your website. That's the bottom line. The webinar series is now over. If you know me and Pascal well, you'll know that we'll be doing a lot more coming up. But for now, this mini series is over, and we look forward to welcoming you onto the 90-day program. And I'd invite you to scan this QR code to go and check out our website, which we are extremely proud of. We have all the key elements that we've discussed. For those that haven't scanned the code, it's 90daymarketingmastery.com, 90daymarketingmastery.com. But that leaves us to say thank you for joining us, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, thank you for asking questions, thank you for getting involved and challenging us and sort of making us really think about some of the content that we're putting across. But as we said, it's the 90daymarketingmastery.com, and I think the only thing left to do is to play our farewell video, because that's what it's about. It's about the trust that it will build. It's about the answers, the questions it will answer, and it will tell you a lot more about what we've been talking about. We look forward to seeing you soon. Pascal, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We shall see you all soon. Take care. Here is our farewell video.